What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another Alpha 22 Magfed video. We are back for part 2 on Thomas's Big Red interview. So let's go ahead and take a look.
We'll go on to the next question. That was awesome. We feed the beast in many ways. It evolves. We change careers and jobs. Even if you don't have a career, you change jobs. How did those evolve from you from work, media, and playstyle?
So that's actually interesting. So I've been in the pool industry for a long time, and that's definitely my No, swimming pools.
Okay.
Swimming pools.
Okay.
Professional pool. I should get into that. No.
Yeah, I was actually watching it the other day. I was like, I haven't played for such a long time. Before media and everything, the sharks were more. I saw a lot of people playing
yeah.
Maybe because of the lounges or something.
Yes. Yeah. Pool lounges were super popular. My dad played pool a bunch, and I'm definitely not good, but I can beat my friends most of the time.
Angle, but you know what I mean? It's that angle, and you got to think about that bounce back.
Yeah. I'm good at visualizing the angles. I feel it's all about hitting the shot as I'm trying to hit it. So,
question.
I've always been in swimming pool industry pretty well since I got out of high school.
Oh.
I mean, I've wanted to have like a fixed career for a long time, but I didn't think that I could do that with swimming pools. So I would work that during like the season, which basically runs from April to about October in Canada, kind of to November.
Yeah.
So it's April to November. You can work for a pool business and make good hours and good money. But for those other about 5 months of the year, you got nothing to do. So unless you're shoveling snow or something like that, there's not a lot to do. Yeah. We would do some landscaping like grass cutting and leaf raking and stuff like that, but it just doesn't pay the bills unless you're doing it like fully as your main job.
Right.
So in the wintertime, I'd always try and find a different job to start as my career and then to carry on through to the next summer. So I worked for a farm for a while. I worked for a pig farm, and then I ended up transferring, and I was managing $1 million chicken operation.
Wow.
Which was huge. It was like 40,000 birds per crop or something like that. I might have bought
one of those birds and ate them over here.
Well, Maple Lodge Farms. If you bought Maple Lodge Farms chicken, you might have ate one of my chickens.
I like buying eating things.
Yeah. I learned about farming, breeding pigs when I was in the pig barn. I was breeding pigs, and like helping birth pigs and raising piglets and stuff like that.
Oh.
Yeah. So
these are things that were driving the force of you playing paintball.
Yeah, so that was my main job when I was really first getting into paintball. That was my first main job was the farm, but I was always working the pools in the summertime. I would kind of work a job, and then it just couldn't find something that worked for me. So that fit me.
Right.
Like I would work it for about 6 months, and then I would end up back at the pool company. And then I would work another job for 6 months, and I would end up back at the pool company. Yeah. So I worked for a custom builder. I built some timber bridges with him, and just built some custom cabinetry. And I worked for a renovator. So I did that. That was one of the longer jobs I did. I did that for about 1.5 years. So we were doing drywall, painting, all sorts of stuff like that.
I love drywalling.
And I actually like drywalling too.
Yeah. And everything, it's not too bad. I don't mind it. And holding the big board up and just ta-ta.
I'm not as good at mudding, like the mudding and everything like that, but I can do everything up to that. So
I think it's just me kind of like putting it. I don't know.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant. So I was always ended up working at the pool industry. Yeah, back in the pool industry. Yeah. So when COVID hit, I was working at a factory. I'd worked there for about 1.5 years. I was just assembling hydraulic hoses and stuff like that. Cool. Just nothing special. Yeah. And the COVID restrictions at my work were just not making sense to me, just from my own personal perspective. So I decided that I would go on the CERB for a little bit and figure out what I wanted to do. So I took CERB for, I think, 4 weeks, and then I started putting out Kijiji ads for pool service.
Cool.
And for cleaning and opening and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I actually was getting enough work that I was bringing in enough money.
Cool. Good for you.
Yeah, so I was really pleased with how everything was going. And then by July, that's kind of the middle of the season, and you got to be cleaning a lot of pools or selling a lot of chemicals to bring money in.
Yeah.
And I did not have the customer base or the inventory to be doing that, either of those.
Right.
So I went to a proper pool company and I was like, hey, do you guys have work? And they had work. And they started me off at the wage that I started at was as good as I was making at the factory to do pools, which is what I really love to do. Yeah. So I started doing that for a while.
Wow.
And then the factory called me back and they said, hey, do you want to come back to work for us? And I told them no, but I went to my boss and I said, hey man, I really enjoy working here and the other job wants me back. What can you give me? And me and him kind of laid out a little bit of a plan. Like, I'm not going to take over the business from him or anything like that, but he's helping me make pools my actual career and to bring enough money in to keep me going throughout the year. Oh, so like cool. Right now I'm on EI, but I only have to go on EI for about 3 months of the year. Whereas before I had to do, like, if I did, I would have had to have done it for 5 months out of the year. And I can't do that really. And I'm eventually I'm going to get to the point where I'm going to have a job that I can do in the winter. I'm getting my gas fitter's license this year.
Really?
So I can, yeah. So, and he's going to pay for it so that eventually I can become a contractor for the company that I currently work for. That's good. Is the plan.
Yeah.
Yes. So, like, pool heaters are a huge part of the industry, especially in Ontario. And I'd imagine out there too, like you guys have less warm months than we do. So the rich people who want to swim in their pools, they keep them heated a long time. So it's good to have a dude on the staff who can go there and actually service the heaters by myself, rather than hiring a subcontractor, like outsourcing it to another company. So that's the long-term plan, is he's gonna get me qualified so I can be an asset to the company.
That is excellent.
Yeah, which is what I really was looking for the entire time. But the company I worked for originally, the guy was just kind of old, and he'd done it since he was 20. And he was in his 60s. So he was kind of probably gearing up to sell the business, and I wasn't going to be in a position to buy it at the time. So he was just kind of letting it run its course. Like, a lot of his customers were aging out, and like he'd had them since he was 20. Right. So he was just slowly losing customers, just to old age kind of deal. Right. We would get new ones, but yeah, he was just letting the business die on its own. So I needed to find somewhere that was going to be long-term and sustainable. And then I found that, and I'm super grateful and just taking every advantage of it that I can. Yeah. And even like our busy season is the end of April, like start of May. And then in the end of September, start of October, that's when we open the most pools and close the most pools. Right. And he's given me time off at those times of the year, like my current boss, to go play paintball games. So he knows how important that paintball is to keeping me as a happy, functional employee.
I think that's very important for employers to know how your employees are after work. How are they? What do they do? What makes them a better worker when they're here with me? So that's a smart man. That's a really smart job. That's a smart man there.
A bunch of people, like, not to make anyone jealous, but my Christmas bonus this year was that vacation in Mexico that I just went on. Yeah, so like through rewards points, we get the ability to send people on vacation. And then my boss, he's not a resort kind of guy, so he saves all those and then sends us, his employees, to the resort for 1 week. And that was insane. That is cool. people kind of like, I feel people look down on me in some ways for having the job that I have, like, because it's not a real, some people say it's not like a real job working in the pool industry, but man, my Christmas bonus was a $10,000 vacation to Mexico. So I mean, fuck those people. Right?
I know, like I said, you feed the beast
awesome.
in many ways, and it doesn't have to be the career. It doesn't have to be that job. You could just have that. Like I cut hair every now and then, and I work the tinkering jobs here and now, and then that's what I use for my personal build to my paintballing, my equipment, my camera setup. Those are things that I spend on myself because I feel that's all I need right now, because I'm spending a lot on my family just so that we can survive, just so I can be happy when I'm done being that father. But we have this way that we need to feed the beast.
Yeah, so I also all the Kijiji customers that I got that April and May, I've kept them and I've put Kijiji ads out every year. So now I open and close about 10 pools every spring and fall.
So do you have them all?
And that puts.
Do you have?
How do you mean?
Are your clients, you could say.
Yeah. So I message them every springtime, and we set up our date for the opening, and then around like September or something like that, I send the messages out again, say, hey, let's schedule a closing, and then that puts a decent amount of money in my pocket each year to go do the paintball thing, right?
Yeah, cool.
Puts gas in the car, puts new FSR in the mags, and keeps everything flowing.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at Mini Thom. What were the words or advice that you would give yourself, opposed to like you having today? Like what advice would you give your younger self?
Oh man. I feel like I think about this a lot, but I feel like I don't have a good answer for you. Maybe it's a cliche, but like just be yourself.
Right.
Like that. It took me so long to figure that out, man.
Yeah.
Like it's so interesting how I always wanted to be cool, or I always wanted people to think a certain way about me. And it took me a long time to realize that the way that you get that is by having confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And then the way that you have confidence in yourself is by being the person who you want to be. Yeah. Because then you'll like yourself and then you'll have confidence. Yeah. So it's not about what other people think. It's just about what you think. Then that it really influences the outcome in so many ways that now being in the position that I'm in and like learning what I've learned, I'm grateful that I learned it now.
That is awesome.
Like, because I can't imagine where I'd be if I was 10 years down the line and then I was just figuring that out, like 10 years farther and just figuring that out. I'm glad. And that it helped to meet the people that I met and to have paintball for that, because I found that my team, I didn't talk about my team as much. Like we can get into that, but the team is so just so caring and accepting that has helped me be myself. Just having those guys in my life and them knowing me and liking me for who I am. Right. And it took me a while to figure that out, that people did like me for who I was. And those guys were a big part of that. And then I became more comfortable to be who I wanted to be. And it's only worked out for the better. I've never seen it steer me wrong. Yeah. So
that was actually my next thing too. I wanted to get into that paintball. I know, like, we know who you are on the field. Pretty much everyone that follows you on Instagram or knows who you are on the field or seen you on the YouTube videos and people talk about you. People know this guy on the field. But we're going to go back here for your Northern Mercenaries here. You are the captain, eh?
Yep. Yeah. So we have a kind of interesting structure. So I joined the team in the second or third year of them being a team, and there was two primary founders of the team, Tim and Evan. And Evan's known as Mr. Pink on Instagram and stuff like that, and Tango, everyone knows Tim Tango. Yeah. So they were like the leaders of the team, and we slowly like would add players over time, and Tim was always like the de facto captain of the team. Mm-hmm. And at some point in time, I eventually became Tim's second in command.
Oh, wow.
And then we always we had a structure where the two founders had, they had like the biggest votes, but then everyone who was kind of second in command, they also had a small vote in the team decisions and stuff like that.
Oh, I see.
And then, we grew it a little bit more. So we added another second in command. So we had kind of like 4 guys who were a part of the leadership of the team.
Right.
And then it got to the point where Evan moved away to New Brunswick. And then one of the second in commands of the team, he left. So it was me and Tim as the primary and the secondary.
Oh, I see.
And then over time, Tim there was one year, he could go into it himself if you ever wanted to talk to him about it. But there was one year where he played a lot of events and he had a lot of success on the field, but he stretched himself really thin. Yeah. And so the next year he said to me, "Hey man, you got to take over as captain of the team just for my own personal benefit, like so that he can be the second in command and have slightly less responsibility so he can focus on what he needs to focus on."
Right.
So I took over that, and it was a real learning experience. And I really, I'm a bit of a hardcore kind of dude. Like I would love to have like training sessions and mandatory practices and stuff like that.
I feel like when I talk to people the same way you're thinking, this way you're talking, like I feel like I'm almost alone on that conversation. It's so cool to get into, especially with can go walk around and stuff, but it just takes a moment for us to get out there.
So I find that a lot of people they love playing paintball, but it's maybe one of multiple hobbies, or it's like something that they want to do just for fun and not too serious.
Right.
Whereas I'm like, I like to take it pretty seriously. So I was like trying to push that vibe a little bit, and people were kind of pushing back from that vibe. But they had every right to. And honestly, like it taught me a valuable lesson, because you can't become the leader and just tell people what to do. Mm-hmm. Like I thought I had earned people's respect. And then I had a buddy talk to me like one-to-one, man-to-man, and say like, "Hey man, you need to do a couple things before you earn people's respect as a leader." And I actually listened, and I'm so grateful that I listened to that guy, because he was so right. And I feel like I've kind of modified my behavior on the field to be a bit more of a leader, in the sense that sometimes it's better to do than to tell people what to do. Just set the example.
Right.
And that way, when it comes time to tell people what to do, you actually have a leg to stand on, right?
Yeah.
Because if you are telling people to do something a certain way, but you don't have proof of you doing it that way, then it's really hard to convince people.
Does it work? I don't know how it works.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go try this. Does it work? Right. Well, go try it.
Yeah.
So I found that, and like that also led to me keeping my mouth shut a little bit more, like keeping my mouth shut on the field, letting my actions speak louder than my words.
Yeah.
And then when I needed to say something, it mattered and people listened. And so that was one big thing that I learned as a leader. And that took a long time for me to learn. Like maybe 2 years as being the leader, and my talking, like my style evolved.
Yeah.
And I was really grateful for that, dude. I tell him every day. I was like, every chance I get, I say, "You were so right, and thank you for telling me that," because I needed someone to tell me that. And sometimes you need people to just look you in the face and tell you the truth, and say like, "Hey man, what you're doing is not working, and this is why." And so
I totally agree. Like in order to be a good leader, you do have to follow and listen to your soldiers as well. Like they have a better input than you do, or they're very skilled in one area than you are, and that just helps define you as the leader because you are going to get better.
Yeah, I really love Jocko Willink.
Yeah,
he's one of my favorite podcasts and motivators, and he is all about leadership and ownership and discipline. Those are like his big
is that
three
that
things.
motivation
Leadership.
speaker?
Yeah. Well, right? Yeah, the former Navy SEAL.
Yeah, he's awesome.
And he's great. And I always wanted to like be. I would love to be like Jocko in a lot of ways, But one thing that he always stresses is that you got to listen to your guys, and that is that personified. Mm-hmm. Like you can't. It's better to do things in the way that your guys want them done than to do them the way you want it done. Yeah. Because it's just going to benefit everyone that way.
That's really good advice for everybody to hear. Really. Because honestly, sometimes like, we get lost in ourselves and we don't listen to our interior voice too.
Yeah, or you get so wrapped up in your own thoughts that you lose touch with like the greater perspective.
Yeah, believing their word is almost not as believable as my word because I heard it first.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. 100%.
So let's go back just a little bit.
So that's kind of sorry to cut you off, but yeah, that's the evolution of being a leader of the team. Yeah. Like it started out, I joined the team and became a part of the command structure, and then I was lucky enough to take command of the team through a turn of events, but I had to learn and evolve to earn the right to command the team kind of deal. So I just wanted to summarize that.
That's great. No, that's actually a great summarize of where you are right now and how much respect you gain getting there. With those skill sets that you are learned and putting forth in your team and also your paintballing skill because of the milsim factor, your cadets, there's things you learned in your cadets. What were those key points that you are bringing to paintball?
Okay, sorry. You cut out for me. You said cadets, and then you cut out for me just for a second.
I saw that too. Okay. Your cadets, these are things that you've learned, and we're going to go back to that point. Like we're younger now. What age was that, and what did you bring into your life before cadets?
So I was about 13, 14 when I did cadets. I did it for 2 years there.
Wow.
And before that, I was in Cub Scouts, and I did Cub Scouts from when I was 8 to about 13.
Wow.
And so I got to the point of being a sixer in Cub Scouts, which is like a leader. You have 6 Cubs who you're responsible for, kind of deal.
Cool.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just kids, and you just kind of.
But when you're given the role, you actually playing this role, and you're developing these skills that you don't even know.
Yeah, like I from that point, like I was always like a smart kid, and people always looked to me for answers. Mm-hmm. Literally, like, hey Thom, how do you spell this word? Hey, what's I don't know, 12 times 9 or crap like that. Yeah. Like people would just ask me random questions, and I always liked being the person with the answers and the person showing people the way.
Yeah,
kind of deal. I mean, it sounds big-headed, and I've managed that in my own ways.
You
but like I like being that person. Yeah, this is the way. Yeah. So that's always been a part of my life. Is I want to be a leader. I kind of just like I've been a leader, and I know what it feels like to lead by example. And then I was like, oh, I really like that feeling, and I want that. So being in like Cub Scouts and being able to lead, and then in cadets, I was that was more of that was about the time that you had put in and the milestones that you had passed, rather than necessarily a meritocracy.
Yeah, okay.
And that's I feel like I haven't been in the military, but I mean, like there are certain like milestones that you have to pass to get promoted, right?
Yes.
And sometimes that's just time in the service.
It is, yes.
And so that was something that was really hard for me to handle. I was like, I want to be, I know I'm better than the dude that's in charge of me. Let me be in charge of him, kind of deal.
Yeah, I see.
And it was really hard for me to handle that. the dude was in charge of me just because he had more time in and more experience. And so that was, looking back on it, I realized that that was an opportunity for me to humble myself. And I didn't take as much advantage of it as I could have looking back on it as an adult. So, but I had good experiences at cadets, and eventually it became that I was just too busy with school and school sports and schoolwork that I just couldn't keep it up. But for like the kind of the little tidbit that I always look back on with pride was that I was able to, in the year that I was there, I made the shooting team and I had the best shot out of anyone on the team.
Wow.
Which I was always, that's like a little point of pride for me, was that I had the best shot in the Corps, and it was like, I picked up a BB gun. That was the first time I'd ever picked up a BB gun.
Yeah, me too.
And they were like, "Oh yeah, you're on the shooting team now." And I was like, "Okay." And then they were like, "Okay, go to the shooting meet." And I scored the best out of the whole team at the shooting meet.
Those are 5 targets down one after the other.
Yeah. And oh man, and then when we went to camp, we did the biathlon.
The triathlon.
Oh, that was
did you go cross country skiing or skate skiing?
No. So we did it during the summertime. So in cadets, you could go to summer camp for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and then 6 weeks. So I did the 2-week camp, and one of the days we did you had to jog cross country 3 kilometers and then lie down and shoot.
Yeah.
So a little summer biathlon.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So yeah, like looking back on it, I definitely learned lessons from cadets, but at the time, like I look back on myself as a teenager and I think I was a dick. Like I think I was such an idiot. So like I look at teenage Thom as I'm like, oh man, you idiot. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all those experiences that I had. And I've learned the lessons now. At least I can say that I've learned the lessons now. But yeah, but I look back on myself as a teenager and I'm just like, man, how are you are such an idiot? How are you not dead or fucking in jail or something?
Okay. Let's play a word game. We'll have 2 more here before we end it here, and then you can go on your beautiful life here. Okay.
No worries.
If there wasn't a blink, I wouldn't be paintballing. If there wasn't a blink, I wouldn't be balling.
Man, if there wasn't a Brantford surplus.
Oh, really?
If there wasn't a Brantford surplus, because that's where I got my gear.
Oh.
When that went, I would maybe Groupon. If there wasn't Groupon, I wouldn't be playing paintball, because my buddy taking me to Flag Raiders paintball. Honestly, Flag Raiders paintball.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I would tell you. Flag Raiders paintball. Yeah. If there wasn't a Flag Raiders paintball, I wouldn't be paintballing. Because that day that me and my buddies went for the Groupon, that it was the next weekend, I bought my gear, and then I was out. I was playing paintball. And it was because of that day that I played just a rec ball rental.
Wow.
Like, but it was because of the field that I went to and the experience that I had that sucked me in.
Wow.
And honestly, yeah, it was like the game modes they played and the maps that they had there. Wow. And I really loved Flag Raiders for like the referees that they hired really cared. Like, you would have like the occasional, like, oh, it's a teenager that it's a weekend job for a paycheck. But even most of the time, those kids really cared and took the job seriously. And then because of that, people have a better experience. When the ref is like, all right, guys, like, let's have a good time. Like, you have a better potential to have a good time if the ref is into it and really cares. And they did such a good job, like, just all around. That was such a great field.
I saw a few teenagers last year that were just like that, conducted like a real ref. I'm like, yo, you're like fucking almost half my age.
Yeah, and we need the kids like that.
True.
That they love to play paintball and they love the field, and they're like, oh, well, this would be a great idea. And I mean, let's face it, they don't get paid the best. And they get shot at by idiots a lot of the time, and they answer the same stupid questions over and over and over again. But
they love it.
Just a shout out to paintball rec ball
It
refs.
is. Yes. Shout out to all the refs out
teenagers in their summer jobs, and everyone who's a rec paintball ref. We need you.
Frick yes.
Because and flag raiders, like special shout out to them, because if they
for flag raiders for sure,
they are honestly who got me into paintball and loving paintball, and that's where I met my team.
Yeah.
That's they used to have so it's funny, my work, the pool company I work at now is down the block from the old flag raiders indoor.
No way.
So I used to drive by this place all the time going to indoor paintball, and that's where me and my team really bonded and formed. Everything kind of came together, man. So
wow.
Yeah, flag raiders.
So would you with one more thing, would you say that paintball kind of saved your life and the most softest essence and the most extreme essence? Did paintball save your life?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because I need the outlet. Mm-hmm. Like, let's say on the softest level, the simplest level, I need that outlet.
Yes.
Where I'm sure like the people who really, really love paintball know that it's almost like it's like this building anxiety, or like this feeling inside you that like I am more high strung if I haven't been out to paintball. The longer I haven't been out, the more high strung and more of a little bit of a jerk I am. Yeah. But it's like being like after like the weekend after paintball is like I'm the most chill and the most relaxed, and you're like in Zen mode, right?
Yes.
And then on like the most serious level, honestly, like I'm so grateful for my team, because there's been a couple times where I've been like so in such a dark place, and the thing that has made me hesitate or stop or look for help was I didn't want to let those guys down, honestly. So like, I'm definitely going to get emotional saying this stuff, but it's just like, I was always worried that I would message those guys to say bye.
Yeah.
Like, see you later, I'm not going to be around anymore. And they would do something about it. Like they would call the cops or call my mom or something. Yeah. Like they would always, they cared enough that I knew that if I told them I was in that place, that they would do something to stop it. Yeah. So I always like would think twice. Like I would be like in such a dark place and like really scaring myself.
Right.
And that would kind of like bring me back from the edge, was being like, well, I got to message the boys, and like not being able to do it because I wouldn't want to let those guys down.
Yeah.
And just that's what I feel like. People who have struggled with that stuff, you think about people that would miss you, or like people whose lives you would affect.
Right.
And there's my family, of course, but on a separate, like I feel like they know me well enough that they would know the struggles that I've dealt with and stuff like that. But I just wouldn't want my team to think like that they could have done something and that they didn't, or something like that. Yeah. And so I've like a couple dudes on the team, I've reached out to them when I've been in a shit place and just been like, hey man, just tell me something good about me, please. Yeah. Just to kind of bring me back from the edge, or even just tell me family, like,
bro.
Yeah, honestly, 100%. Yeah, and that's family. I really value the Mercs and just having those guys, because totally they're my family. That's honestly
intense. I love that.
True bros.
I love that. I think you're blessing me by being and been participating in this origin story of your origin story. It's a bigger picture for all of paintballing, a bigger picture for all of Magfed paintballing. The world appreciates you. We all do know you. We watch you. I've watched you before I even got a chance to speak with you today. This is actually my first time speaking with you, and I feel blessed.
Yeah, I know, and that's
to know you, and
that's just crazy. Story. It's crazy to me, man. I feel like I'm a nobody still. Like I joke with Tim about that. Like he tells me that people are watching me and know who I am.
It's true.
And I feel like I'm such a nobody. But honestly, that's awesome, man. That makes me feel pretty good about myself. And like it definitely does make my head a little bit bigger, but I feel like I'm humble enough now. Yeah, I'm humble enough now that I can hear that stuff and take it properly. So thank you.
Yeah,
thank
you are
you. I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you times more over than I should. And then maybe if you want to, I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to Ontario in July to that. I'm pretty sure it's Conquer the Asylum. I'm going to PRZ in July.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it's Conquer the Asylum, but it could be something. But I'm just.
Are you coming for Honey Badger, the Magfed?
I'm not too sure, but I'm going down for July, and I will be staying. I'm not too sure how long I'll be staying though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you do end up going, I'll be hanging with Tango and them. Part of your mercs, I'll be hanging with your mercs, bro. And then Pitsy, Thom.
Okay. Awesome.
Tim. I forgot another fella there.
Oh, Ryan.
Maybe Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get a chance to meet some of your bros. If I don't get a chance to meet you, So can't wait to do that. If you're there, you're there.
Yeah. You. If Tango's around, I'll be around, man.
Cool.
I'm that guy's annoying sidekick. I'm like a ward on his ass sometimes.
Yeah, I jumped in on their live and I was telling them to fucking abuse me, man. I want me drive heaving by the end of the day.
Nice. Okay, good. We'll put you through the ringer.
Yeah. All right. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you so much. I'm Alpha 22. Well, let's start off by ending it with your whatever you want to say, your shout outs or anything like that.
All right. You can find me Instagram at Big Red Thom, and just give the Northern Mercenaries a like and follow, and give the Raid series a like and follow. That's the game series that me and my buddy Jesse Labrie are working on, Beaver Paintball.
Wow.
He's a great buddy, and I'm super blessed to be able to put paintball games on, like to get to the position now where I'm able to put paintball games on. Right. So if anyone's interested, go check it out. Cool. And in the Frontline Paintball podcast, I'm now on the Wednesday news segments. So catch me every Wednesday on the Frontline Paintball podcast news segment.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
And exactly. And I'm the Magfed focused guy. So if you have any Magfed submissions for Frontline Paintball podcast, you can talk to me about them and I'll potentially get you on the show. So
appreciate that. That's awesome. Okay.
That's awesome. Thanks for letting me plug my stuff.
Yes. So, all right then. So this is your origin story. What begins with you. Thank you so much, Thom. I appreciate that so much. And I'll hopefully see you in July or catch you on the flip side, brother.
Yeah, hopefully see you in July, man.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Take care.
Yeah. Bye-bye now.
All right, bye.
Yo, thanks for sticking around, guys, as we speak on what feeds the beast and the love we need to share our people off and on the field. Thanks to Thom for sharing his amazing story. You can catch all his links in the description below. So, where's your origin story? What will begin with you? I'm Alpha 22. Talk to you later. Let's just check how it goes. Look at that smile.